From the notes and belongings on the desk of Saz to what was left of her in the incinerator, we've got so much to talk about, so welcome to your Only Murders in the Building breakdown. Right before we get started, if you are new around here, please hit the subscribe button. I will be here every single week breaking down all the clues and details in Only Murders in the Building to make sure that we can find the killer. So please subscribe and share to build our little detective database, and also hit the like button because that one really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Okay gang, wow, it is so good to be back. Season 4 really kicked off with a bang. It was just firing on every single cylinder, and the trio have this humour that just, it's so captivating. And you know, every single time, I know we talk about how when the trio was initially announced, you know, as Martin Short and Steve Martin and Selena Gomez, people were going, oh my god, what's Selena Gomez going to do with the two of them? And constantly throughout 4 seasons now, she has held her own with them, and she is just as good. And I just love the trio, and the chemistry is still there. But wow, we've got a bunch more new characters that we need to talk about, some of whom may or may not be suspicious. Plus we've got some of our regulars that have returned. But wow, I mean, first of all, what a star-studded cast. That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, wow, you know, of course we've got our trio, but then on top of that, without, you know, only 10 minutes in, boom, Molly Shannon from SNL's there, and then we flash forward a little bit further, and it's Eva Longoria and Eugene Levy, for goodness sake. Plus, who could forget
Zach Gallifragilistic, of course.
Brilliant pronunciation there from good old Oliver. But yes, I mean, there was all those guys, and then before you know it, after that, we've got Scott Bakula making a cameo, which we also need to talk about. It's just, and then Meryl Streep, of course. I am guilty of forgetting Meryl Streep there. I have sinned. That should be a Class A felony, forgetting Meryl Streep. But wow, what a cast. An amazing start to the season, and so many clues that have already been dropped as to what could have happened to Saz, because we, of course, saw Saz's body go down at the end of Season 4. At the end of Season 3, sorry, and now we're at Season 4. And the body was gone. It was nowhere to be seen until the end of the episode. I mean, can we even call that a body at the end? It wasn't even a body. She'd been incinerated, and all that was left was her Bulgaria metal arm. Try not to laugh as I say that, but wow, what that took a dark turn as well at the end. That really did, you know. Before we jump into all the clues, I just want to say that took a really dark turn at the end. It felt really ominous. And I didn't dislike it or anything for that matter, but it was very the look on Charles's face absolutely broke my heart. He looked so, you know, torn up, and obviously his relationship with Saz goes way back to, you know, the 70s and the 80s when he was doing Brazos, and obviously he's been friends with Saz since then, as she was the stunt double of him all the way back then. And so he's just lost a friend of, you know, 40, 50 years, and all that was left of her. Not only did he lose her, but all that was left of her was, you know, a metal joint in an incinerator. That's a pretty brutal way to find out a friend isn't kicking around anymore. But of course, the body disappeared. And I think something we do need to note at the very beginning, when the podcast was getting recorded and they were wrapping up the 3rd season of, you know, the death of Ben Glenroy, the lights went out. And now, initially, because we didn't see the incinerator scene, I mean, I guess we just glanced over that, but I think we need to look a little bit deeper as to why the power went out for that brief moment. And I think definitely we need to keep that one in mind, because it's going to come back around, I believe, to the point where something happened in that specific moment in the Arconia that caused the power to go out. That was something to do with the removal of Saz's body. Because they could have easily done a scene there without the power going out, but they added that in. That wasn't a coincidence. There was something there that was 100% to do with Saz's death, or the cover-up of Saz's death, and I think we're going to find out probably within, well, I would assume within the season. But if anybody's got any theories on the lights going out there, I mean, that's our first talking point there. Let me know what you're thinking in the comment section below as we look on Saz's desk at all the clues that we saw in the episode. Now for the juicy part, because I'm sure a lot of us, many of us eagle-eyed fans out there, pressed pause when we were watching certain scenes, and this was when they went into Saz's apartment towards the end of the episode, and they found many, many little things on her desk, whether it was notes, or whether it was little parchments, or whether it was tickets, or whatever, but, you know, they intentionally showed us all those things because they are the first clues we have into finding out what happened to Saz, why she died, and who could the killer be. So let's break down what is on Saz's desk. Alright, so the first thing we got to look at is this long game thing. You know, it says the 5.5 Lesbian Brothers Invitational Golf Tournament, and it says long game. I don't know if there's anything specific there that gives that away, but they did mention that. You know, the trio kind of went long game, huh? And then underneath that, there's a ticket from LAX to JFK, so there's something going on there. I mean, of course, that could have been the ticket she used to get over to the party, but then again, I mean, why would that be on the desk, you know? I mean, she obviously had, unless that's a copy of it, you know, was she planning on flying over again? What's going on there? And then we've got what looks to be almost an empty toilet roll that has the numbers 11 and 13 crossed out, and then the numbers 26, 14, and 86 with question marks next to each of them. I have yet to pick up on anything that could indicate that yet. We are very early in the season, so what that could mean, I am not quite sure yet. But if anybody else has any theories, please let me know. And then we've got a receipt that says delivery number 216. If we zoom in slightly, it says Hancock Park, Los Angeles, 1 avocado toast. And it says 2 notes, underlined twice on it. We've got a very tasteful mug there with some angels in flip-flops, as Charles might call them. And then sorry, I couldn't help myself there. And then over on this other note, there is a sticky note that says 773440. A lot of numbers going on there. And then something that's really important is West Tower, Arconia. Now that to me feels like something that is to do with not just Charles's apartment, but Saz's death in general. Because we've seen for 4 seasons now, Saz knows where Charles lives. Why would she have a random note on her desk that reminds her of where Charles lives? That feels very, very suspicious. That feels like something that she was maybe looking into, or something that, you know, she was about to talk about, or something that just some form of information that she had no business having on her desk. You know, she knows where her buddy lives. She doesn't need to remind herself. So West Tower, Arconia is something very interesting to note there. And then in the corner, we do have something that says Stunt Worker Calendar 2024. So that's an interesting one there. And then let's look at some other notes on the desk. If we pull up this next picture, it says Fight Like a Girl, which looks like some form of pencil case. If we zoom over into the top right corner, there is a picture of Quantum Leap's very own Scott Bakula, who of course made a cameo. That was a wonderful surprise because I didn't expect that at all. And then we've got some form of script here that says access denied, the future is terminal. And it looks like it's season 3, and we can't really see who it's written by. But there's something interesting there. I mean, if we really zoom in, it says Jay Blaze something, and that's not a name that's popped up yet as far as we know. And maybe that's the show that Bakula was working on, that Saz was going to do some work for. But then we pull up this next note, and it says Burn Gel, quarterly newsletter. And then we've got cancel DN, or is it DN apartment? Could that be downstairs? Cancel something apartment for Thursday at 10 a.m. Something appointment, not apartment. There we go. Cancel something appointment for Thursday at 10 a.m. out of the TIL 23rd. But if we zoom a little bit further out the table, the very important point that is made on one of the letters is looking at Charles. And Oliver did say that out loud, looking at Charles. Now, with the combination of looking at Charles and the West Tower of the Arconia on her desk, that to me is incredibly strange that she would have those notes there. She, of course, is a friend of Charles, but let's just step outside of Only Murders in the Building for 1 second and ask ourselves, think about a friend that we've got. All of us think of a friend. Would we, on our desks at home, or on our kitchen tables, or in our bedroom, on our bedside cabinet, or on our just wherever, on the wall at work, would we ever have a note or 2 notes that says looking at friend's name, plus scoped out location of a friend's house or where a friend lives, when you've known that friend for so long and you've known where they live anyway, why would you have that written down on the desk? There is something weird going on here. Whether these have been planted there, or whether Saz has got herself into some trouble, or whether Saz has been up to no good. But Saz did say to Charles at the end of season 3, I've got something sensitive to talk to you about. So that is obviously the key to figuring out the motive as to why the killer killed Saz. Now, who is the killer? We've got. This is another one because we've got a bunch of new characters as well that we need to talk about that we're introducing this episode. Because of course, it could be somebody that we know already from multiple seasons, but also we do have some new faces. So we should talk about the new faces that showed up and could potentially be on our suspect list. Now, there are certain people we can completely rule out straight away as murderers, and that would obviously be Charles, Oliver, and Mabel. They were at the party when it happened. And unless Loretta also slipped out at the last minute, I think it's safe to say Loretta isn't the killer either. But we do have some new people that were introduced, and first of all is SNL's Molly Shannon, who came along as Bev Mellon, and she is a taskmaster. She is somebody who will do whatever it takes to make the money. She was shown to basically say to Mabel, we'll make it work no matter how much money you need, yada yada yada, it'll happen. And she talked about how thirsty she was to get this movie out by the end of the year. Could Bev Mellon have done it? First of all, I don't think I'm going to be able to contain my excitement saying the words Bev Mellon the entire season. It's such a brilliant name. But Bev Mellon, I mean, she seems like she'll stop at nothing. And also, Molly Shannon's got range. I know I'm thinking outside the Only Murders box here, but she's got range. She can 100% play Psycho. So we'll see where that one goes. But Bev Mellon, of course, is one of our new cast members. But then we look at this is where it got interesting. The brothers that were the sisters, they seemed very quirky. And I was kind of thinking, is there something going on there? I mean, it seemed... They could have picked any old people to play the directors of the movie, but the brothers that were sisters that were also very quirky. Interesting casting choice. Fascinating though. I'm pulled in already. Then we, of course, the other person who wrote the script was Marshall. He got a name. Listen, if you get a name in Only Murders in the Building, you can end up on the suspect list very soon. So Marshall is also somebody who is new in the show. And another name that I know some people have been saying, but I don't think there's any traction to it. Of course, there's Lester the doorman, who called up Charles and said, hey, I know you left a note on the desk and said, we need to fix the glass in the window. To me, Lester's a nice old man. Listen, I could be humbled by the end of the season, but I like Lester. He's nice. I don't think Lester would have done it. And what motive has Lester got? But as of right now, I'm not pointing the finger at anyone because I think it's way too early. Of course, we could go down the avenue of it could be Eugene or Eva or Zach, but I just don't think... I think it would feel a bit too meta to have... You know, these guys are being themselves. You know, they are being the actor selves in the show. And for, you know, us to go, okay, season 1... Jan was the killer, and season 2, you know, it was Detective Krebs and Poppy, and so on. Donna and Cliff in 3, and then 4, it was Eugene Levy, it was Eva Longoria. Like, it doesn't feel like that's going to happen, so I think that's fair to say we can rule those guys out, but I think we could potentially be looking at somebody over at the studio. Of course, we'll get to know more people in the process as it goes along. Plus, I think there's going to be so much mystery involved with what's going on with all these notes on Saz's desk and where she's been. And why would anyone want to kill Saz? You know, what is going on there? Could it be Scott Bakula? Did he quantum leap into somebody else and do... And I'm joking, I'm getting way too meta right now. Was it Ziggy? No, I'm joking. Listen, old Quantum Leap fans will know that. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, everybody. And I am so excited for this season. I am really thrilled to be covering Only Murders in the Building this time. And I'd love everybody right now. This is my little task to y'all. And we'll see who's right by the time the season comes to an end. You now have to take to the comment section and guess the killer. I will come back at the end of the season and see who got it on the first episode, but let me know in the comment section who you think the killer is. or any theories that you've got, drop them down below. But I want to see if anybody can nail it on episode 1. We'll come back at the end, look at what everybody put, and listen, I'll shout out all the people who got the killer, and that's going to be some good fun. But I can't wait to hear everybody's theories. I can't wait to hear how much everybody enjoyed the episode, or what their thoughts were on it. To me, that came back with a bang, and I am invested. I am invested with a capital INVESTED. I just can't wait. I can't wait. And what a great time it is to have Only Murders in the Building back. And as the weeks go on, I'm sure we'll find out more and eventually find out what happened to Saz and why and who and what. It's the 5 W's. Well, the 1 H. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. We've got so much to look forward to. But thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I really hope you enjoyed me breaking down all the clues that we have on Only Murders in the Building. Please subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll be here every single week breaking down all the clues, and hopefully all of us together can figure out who the killer is. Thank you so much. I do put a lot of effort into these videos, so please consider sharing on your social media, whether it be in a Facebook group or on Twitter or on Instagram or with family and friends. Please, that would mean the world to me. And also hit the like button, because that one really helps me out, like I said, with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. But until we hear more angels and flip-flops and finding out which of the Pickwick triplets did it, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.